Welcome back. Here we are at lesson 96. We're going to check our work today from this lesson. Okay, so number 2 was our first problem, and it was an original change new problem. It said that the bookstore increased their inventory by 22%. So I started with 100% as my original, plus 22% gave me 122% for my new percent. They started with 5,000 titles. They asked us how many there were after the increase. So I got rid of this category. My proportion was 100 over 122 is equal to 5,000 over n. When I do my cross multiplying, it's 6,100 titles after the increase. Number 4, we want the lateral surface area of the prism. So I worked it out 2 different ways. First I did the dimensions of each of the sides. Okay, we're not worried about the bases, we just want the lateral surface area. So one of the sides measures 10 by 4, that gives me 40 meters square. One side measures 10 by 3, that gives me 30 meters square. One side measures 10 by 5, that gives me 50 meters squared. So I add up all those areas and I get 120 meters square. Or you might have remembered, to get the lateral surface area, I could find the perimeter of the base and multiply it times the height. 3 and 4 and 5 add up to 12 meters. Times the height of 10 meters gives me 120 meters squared. So either way would work. Number 5. On number 5 we have a cylinder, and they want the total surface area. Okay, so I did the lateral surface area first. Perimeter of the base times the height. My base is a circle. And so I did 62.8 for the circumference times the height of 40. I got 2,512 inches square. So that's the lateral surface area, but now I have to include the bases for the total surface area. So I've got 2 bases. Each base has a radius of 10, so radius squared is 100 times pi. Each one is 314. 2,512 plus 314 plus 314 gives you 3,140 inches square. Number 6 was a graphing problem. Okay, so they said that we have rectangle QRST, and they gave us the coordinates. They wanted us to dilate it by a factor of 3. Okay, so I took each coordinate pair and multiplied each value by 3. -1 times 3 gives me -3. 1 times 3 gives me 3. So that's the new coordinate for this point, -3, 3. 3, 1, multiply both the x value and the y value by 3. My new coordinate is 9, 3. That's this one. 3 and -2, multiply them both by 3. I get 9 and -6. That's this one. -1, -2, multiply them both by 3. I get -3, -6, and that's that one. So our new rectangle is out here, dilated by a scale factor of 3. Number 11. Number 11, use words to write this inequality and then graph it on a number line. You should have written that x is less than -1 or x is greater than or equal to 3.5. So here is the graph of x is less than -1. Here is the graph of x is greater than or equal to 3.5. Okay. Number 12, solve for x. 0.5 minus 0.02x equals 3.5. So I subtracted 0.5 on both sides, and I got negative 0.02x is equal to 3. Divide both sides by 0.02 to get x by itself. Divide by -0.02. Negative 0.02 divided by -0.02 leaves me with 1x, which is what I want. 3 divided by -0.02 gives me -150. Number 13. 2/7 x minus 1/14 equals 1/2. So what's happening to the variable with the x? It's being subtracted by 1/14. How do I undo that? Add 1/14 to both sides. If I add 1/14 here, these are gone. 1/2 and 1/14. I changed this to 7/14. 7/14 and 1/14 gives me 8/14. 2/7 x is equal to 8/14. Now what's happening to x? It's being multiplied by 2/7. How do I undo that? Divide by 2/7, which means multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 7/2. Over here, everything reduces to 1. I just have one x. Over here, my 2 and my 8 reduce. That's 4, that's 1. My 7 and my 14 reduce. That's 1, that's 2. End up with 4 over 2, which reduces to 2. Number 14. So we have a distribution and a solving problem. So the first thing I need to distribute is this 2. 2 times a negative x gives me negative 2x. 2 times positive 3 gives me positive 6. So now I have 3x plus a negative 2x plus 6 equals 17. 3x and negative 2x are like. I combine them. They make x, positive 1x. X plus 6 is equal to 17. Subtract 6 on both sides. X is equal to 11. 4x squared equals 100. Divide both sides by 4. X squared equals 25. Square root both sides. And remember, I need the positive and negative root. X is equal to plus or minus 5. Number 17. 3x plus 1 quantity squared. So this means 3x plus 1 times 3x plus 1. So this is one of our FOIL problems. First, 3x times 3x gives me 9x squared. Outside, 3x times positive 1 gives me positive 3x. Inside, positive 1 times 3x gives me positive 3x. Last, positive 1 times positive 1 gives me positive 1. Combine my middle terms, 9x squared plus 6x plus 1. Next, x minus 5 times x plus 5. Again, FOIL. First, x times x is x squared. Outside, x times a positive 5 is positive 5x. Inside, negative 5 times x is negative 5x. Last, negative 5 times positive 5 is negative 25. Positive 5x, negative 5x. My x's drop out because I have 0 x's, so I'm left with x squared and a negative 25. X squared minus 25. Number 19. Okay, number 19 was a difficult one. So in number 19, they give us this little rectangle here, and they want us to find the length and the width of the rectangle. Okay, so hopefully you created right triangles off the length and a right triangle off the width. Okay, and hopefully you saw that this right triangle that comes off the length measures 1, 2, 3 on this side, 1, 2, 3 on this side. Okay, so what I did was use my Pythagorean theorem, and I said that this hypotenuse is my length. Okay, so I created this right triangle where L is the hypotenuse of my right triangle. So 3 squared plus 3 squared equals L squared. 3 squared and 3 squared is 18. Square root of 18 is equal to L. 18 becomes 9 times 2. 9 is a perfect square. The root of 3 comes out. 3 radical 2 for the length. So this side here measures 3 radical 2. And then I could draw a right triangle off of the width, and it measures 1 by 1, where this width is the hypotenuse of my right triangle. Again, Pythagorean theorem. 1 squared plus 1 squared equals the width squared. 1 squared plus 1 squared is 2. So square root of 2 is equal to W. Okay, so the width is radical 2. The length is 3 radical 2. Okay, now B asks us to find the perimeter and the area. So to find perimeter, the formula is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Our length is 3 radical 2. 2 times 3 radical 2 is 6 radical 2. Plus 2 times radical 2 is 2 radical 2. 6 radical 2 plus 2 radical 2. These are like. They both have radical 2's. I can add the coefficients. I get 6 plus 2. 8 radical 2 units is the perimeter. Now to find area, I need to do length times width. Length is 3 radical 2. Width is radical 2. 3 times radical 2 times radical 2 is 2. So 3 times 2 is 6 units squared for the area. And then C says to count the squares that are on our graph to double check that we did our area correctly. So I said I had 2 whole squares, 1, 2 here, And then I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 half squares. 8 half squares, that gives me 4 whole squares here. 2 and 4 make 6 square units. Number 20. Number 20 says to find the area and perimeter of a square with the sides that measure 2x minus 9. So for area, I got to do side times side. 2x minus 9 times 2x minus 9. We got to use our FOIL. First, 2x times 2x is 4x squared. Outside, 2x times negative 9 is negative 18x. Inside, negative 9 times 2x is negative 18x. Last, negative 9 times negative 9 is positive 81. My negative 18x and negative 18x combine. 4x squared minus 36x plus 81 is the area. Now if I want to find perimeter of a square, I do 4 times the length of the side. 4 times 2x minus 9 gives me 8x minus 36 for the perimeter. Okay, last one. Radical 196 minus radical 169. 196 is a perfect square. The root is 14. 169 is a perfect square. The root is 13. So 14 minus 13, final answer is 1. Okay, guys. Send me an email if there's something that you don't understand after going over this, okay? I hope you guys have a great day, and see you next time.